Welcome back to the Webby O'Neill channel. And Manchester United are set to add Ruud van Nistelrooy and René Hake to the backroom staff this summer. Get involved in today's chat, Reds, as ever, and we'll try and discuss some of your comments throughout today's video. Now, your first thoughts on this news that Van Nistelrooy and Hake are set to come to Manchester United?
Well, I look at it from this point, this recruitment drive has to succeed. He's getting his people in the backroom staff, Sir Jim Ratcliffe. These are the people what Erik Ten Hag want. There can be no excuses going forward from Erik Ten Hag or anybody. This is now what's going to happen. United have to succeed. It's as simple as that. That's how I see it now. The right people in the right place. He set the standards. Sir Jim Ratcliffe won't accept from now on, going forward, poor standards. That's how I see it. Great addition to the backroom staff, these two.
Just like to let everyone know that I was here. I was hiding behind that actual piece of information from Fabrizio Romano, so apologies for that. But like I say, I am here in the flesh. Now, it also stated from Fabrizio that Erik Ten Hag is set to sign a new contract, well, an extended contract as well, in the next few days.
Well, he's been here 2 years. We wanted him to do at least 3 years. Now, how he's got to this third year, we all know it's been very tricky, and a lot of people out there haven't been happy at the way it's gone. But I did say a while ago, when he got appointed as the manager, when the others faded and they were dismissed, he has got the power. I don't really think he's got full control. I think they're working together. I go back to Erik Ten Hag, how he talked about working with Sir Jim Ratcliffe throughout the year and looking forward to the summer. There is obviously movement in the back room, and Ten Hag wants these people. So the power is there. He's getting the right people. And to be honest with you, it's the right thing what's happening. I'm just a bit wary of it kicking off straight away into a good rhythm, because this summer, again, it's going to be disruptions with players coming back, the coaching staff getting used to him. They're coming in at a staggered pace. I've seen this before, and it went pear-shaped early doors. So there is a problem coming for these two new coaches what are coming in. But what I like about them, they've both been in the management. I am surprised with Ruud. I thought he might have took the Burnley job, but they're both managers in their own right. So I think the strength of that and the character of being managers will help Erik Ten Hag along the way.
I know we've talked about signings recently, trying to get some players in, obviously moving players out, but I think it's imperative to get these two done before we kick off for pre-season as well, so just so they can get used to the size of the club. Ruud obviously knows the size of it, but Hake, he needs to adjust to that and also adjust to the playing squad as well. You know, familiar faces, get that bond.
Well, familiar faces, there's not going to be familiar faces, as I've just said. That's the problem. So they're going to have to deal with that. How they deal with that, I don't know, because players won't be coming back altogether. Some won't be coming back till the end of July. Some are going to miss that USA tour. So really, when you look at getting together, getting a rhythm, getting a style, getting a play, getting used to each other, that's going to be very difficult. So we might have to be a little bit patient. But, you know, the professionals, they've got to get on with it. Hopefully, some of them will come back earlier than expected. But, hey, I'm not holding my breath on that one.
Obviously, just discussed about Erik Ten Hag near enough signing his new contract in the next few days, as Romano said. Do you think he was also discussing in that new contract about bringing Van Nistelrooy and Hake in there?
I think them discussions with Van Nistelrooy and Hake have been going on for a while because of the people inside United, what were plotting to move, like Benny McCarthy and, Van de Gaag. I think there's people there wanting to move on and do different roles and seek out management. So I think these discussions have been going on for a while. And these two people, what are coming in, right, are solid people, solid in their own right in management and being coaches. They've done that, done management. Solid, and the people going out now, I think they've had their time.
Yeah, in The Athletic, as you can see on screen, Laurie Whitwell does say that Van de Gaag is maybe looking to move elsewhere and further opportunities as being an actual manager.
Yeah, I think 2 years long enough for him. He wants to be a manager. So he's got to move on. And at the end of the day, it's all amicable. It's nothing where Sir Jim Ratcliffe's coming come in and said, like, out you go, you're not good enough. I don't think that is any part of it. I think it's just a mutual thing between him, Van der Gaag, and Erik ten Hag saying, right, my time's done now. You're settled in. You're going to get your contract. I'm off. And then they've gone out and looked for somebody else. All hunky-dory as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah, he has spoken on René Hake ten Hag in the past. I think it was last year. And he said our common period at 20, we have always kept in touch. We meet up and all catch up with each other and talk about private matters as well. So there must be a tight, strong bond there between them two already.
Yeah, the only thing I've seen about him, and I don't know much about him, so I'm not going to go on here and waffle about him being a great this and great that, because that's not the case. I don't really know much about him. I've never really heard of him. Maybe once or twice his name's come across, and that's it. But what I do know is that Erik ten Hag does know him and has known him for 10 years, and they've kept a friendship. So that's good going forward. So I'm not here to waffle about, how great he is at style, tactics, and everything else like that. That's not for me. If you know anything more than I do, which I think most of yous will, then please get it in your comments.
Yeah, especially the Dutch Reds the Dutch Reds. That was a bit of a tongue twister for me, that then.
You got
Saying
it
out dead quick.
Yeah.
It sounded a lot easier in the head than it did come out. But a lot of the Dutch Reds out there, if you know much more about Hake, get it in the comments, because we know there's quite a few of his out there. But he said in that as well that he's driven and he's ambitious. So would you expect them to have like an input as well in the tactics and the everyday training kind of thing?
Well, you say driven and ambitious, he's a manager. And to come here in a coaching role, he must see this as ambition, as a stepping stone going further, or even improving in what he's doing. He sees being at Manchester United in the coaching role as a bigger job than where he is. And the same with Van Nistelrooy. He had the chance of being the Burnley manager, and he sees this as a bigger challenge, which I'm surprised at. I thought he would have took the Burnley job. But both of them see it as being ambitious and a challenge. And fair play to him.
The thing is as well, like I was trying to allude to there, that, last season the football does need to improve on next season, yeah? And with these two coming in, a lot of people out there have mentioned that they think Erik ten Hag's too stubborn in the way he wants to play. So do you think these two will have an input in maybe refreshing things up on the football field, what we see on a Saturday?
Refreshing, there's a lot of things to refresh. These have to improve. These are with Erik ten Hag, and there's no excuses. There cannot be any excuses for this team, this squad, to improve. The people are in place. We've talked about the suits being brought in to be in place. The coaching setup is right. There is no excuses. It has to work. If it doesn't work, then at the end of the day, Erik ten Hag's failed. This is his third year. He should know what he wants, the style, the system, everything. And these two are coming in to work hard. They're ambitious and to get it right. And if they don't get it right, as I said, Sir Jim Ratcliffe won't accept poor standards, and he'll have them out and he'll replace him. We've seen what he's done in the past. Yes, he can make a mistake, but he'll rectify it. That's how I see Sir Jim Ratcliffe. And if he sees this as a mistake, whether it's early doors within the first 6 months or 12 months, then he'll rectify it and he'll change it as quickly as possible. But there's one thing what may counter for them is, will Sir Jim Ratcliffe be able to bring in the players? And that's the thing. If you want success, the manager and the coaches, they all have to be backed, and they have to be backed with a recruitment. And there's a massive recruitment what needs to be done on a rebuild at Manchester United with players and players out. And if Sir Jim Ratcliffe doesn't do that, then that's the only way I can see this going to hold Erik ten Hag back.
Yeah, a good friend of yours from years gone by, Andy Mitten, and a good friend of the channel, has mentioned Benny McCarthy as well, and that he'll be leaving his position as first team coach as well.
Yeah, well, it looks like he wants management, according to some of the reports, until Benny McCarthy speaks. I'm not too sure exactly what the truth is, whether he's been forced out or not. So until we hear from Benny McCarthy, at the moment, it's just the news that he's looking for a management role going back into it. So we'll see what happens when he speaks.
Judging off his time here at Manchester United, though, Benny, What would you say? How would you rate how he's done? You know, you look at his first season. From what I've read on reports, he was more or less like a coaching the forwards at Manchester United. So you look at Rashford in the first season, scored that amount of goals that he did, had a great season, sticking the ball in the back of net. But last season, I mean, how many times were we all saying, you know, that the wide players need to cross to the centre forward, etc. I'm not too sure if that was his actual role on that, but, you know, being a first team coach with the centre forward, you'd expect him to be heavily involved in that.
Well, as a first team coach, if he's looking at the strikers, that's what he was there for. Hoyland wouldn't have been happy with him.
Yeah.
Hoyland would not have been happy with him. He would have been drumming it into him, saying, where's the ball? Why aren't these players giving me? So if he was in charge of them forwards, then obviously he didn't get through to him from Hoyland's point of view. So you could say that was poor, but I don't know if that is the case. But looking at it, if he was the forward coach, then he's not really done his job proper, because we didn't score as many goals as we all thought we should.
In that report from Laurie Whitwell from The Athletic, it did mention Steve McClaren, and, you know, there's still doubts about his actual future, whether he'll still stay here with Nistelrooy Hake coming in, or it might be a bit more of a reshuffle to find him a role. Would you prefer him to stay or go?
I'm not sure whether I prefer him to stay or if I prefer him to go. I just look at Steve McClaren when he was brought in. He was brought in to be like in the middle of the players, the management and the coach. He understood United. He's been here. We all know his history at Manchester United. And sometimes when you look at McClaren, you think to yourself, when you see him on the bench in that, he just sits there and he doesn't do anything. And I only really seen him react in the FA Cup final. I'm not too sure over the last couple of years what his role has been and what his input with Erik ten Hag. He might have reached the end of his tether with his input, Steve McClaren.
Yeah.
You know, he might have done what was needed. So Steve McClaren might be sort of looking at it and thinking, oh, well, there's nothing for me here to do now. There's other people in positions. There's people being brought through the ranks. So his time might have been done. And at the end of the day, he was there as a familiar and a smiley face as well for Erik ten Hag to bridge that gap of the club and people within there. So that time might have been done now, because Erik ten Hag has to take the reins, has to be in control, and doesn't need his hand being held anymore. And I think Steve McClaren's role, that was part of it.
Yeah, I do remember it was a while ago, some point last season, when you spoke to Paul Scholes in an interview on the channel off camera. He had high praise though for Steve McClaren as a coach, especially in the defensive setup as well.
Yeah, lots of people I've heard, and Paul Scholes was right. Defensive coach, a really good coach. High praise all over, right through his career. But we know he's failed in management. Yeah. But at the end of the day, Steve McClaren, I think time's passing him on now, and I think he maybe get one more year. But I think the way I look at it, that he was brought in as a guide and a helping hand for Erik ten Hag. And I think now the right people are in place. These people, what have been brought in, they've all got their own power. They've all got their own personality. They don't need their hands up being held. And I don't think Erik ten Hag does now. So it's time to man up and then just move on and fight the good fight, as they say.
How much of a benefit, though, do you think Ruud van Nistelrooy returning will be, though, for even the current squad? You know, you're considering what squad he was in at Manchester United when he played for us as well, with all that experience as a player. I
mean, when you look at him as a player and as a character, you also look at what he did at PSV, how he handled himself. He's a big character, strong. I don't think there's going to be any messing about it. He is a legend at Manchester United, and he is not going to take any disrespect or any attitude or anything like that. Erik ten Hag is a stickler for standards and everything, and I think he will be part of that enforcement team. He won't take any messing. Big lad, and I wouldn't like to mess with him.
No, I wouldn't at all. Do you expect any more changes to come in, or can we now, maybe as fans at least, maybe try and focus now on players coming and getting transfer deals done?
I think transfer deals might be starting getting done in July, to be honest with you. It doesn't look as though there's any movement this week. So it looks like July is going to be the time for it. I look at inside, you talk about Steve McClaren, you talk about Van der Gaag. You've also got to take a look. I mean, I did hear a report there. I'll just take it with a pinch of salt. But at the end of the day, Darren Fletcher, he's had many roles, and there's talk about question marks over him. staying at Manchester United. He's had many, many roles, and I can't make a case for him. Jack of all trades, that's how I call him.
He's another one, though, when we've spoken to ex-players
Yes.
off camera. They've all had high praise for him, though, in his actual football knowledge and studying the game. Well, you know, from what we heard off one ex-player, he goes up and down the country, all over Europe, been watching games as well. And that was before he took over his role at Manchester United.
Yeah, but listen, we know these people out there what praise Darren Fletcher. We know that, but that doesn't mean to say he's in the right job. He might be able to do a job somewhere else, but I don't feel. To me, he's been moved up and up and up. He's still part of the old guard, me. That's how I regard him, and he's been part of that with Arnold and Murto, Woodward and all that. And he has jumped, and he's jumped some people which I felt he should never have done in his role. So to me, he's been a jack of all trades. He's always, to me, he seemed as though he's filled in a gap. And not been a specialist in that role. So I do think, right, it's time for people like Darren Fletcher, and as I've said before, there is other people inside Manchester United what will be moved on, what should be moved on. It's a new era. It's the Jim Ratcliffe's era, and Darren Fletcher, me personally, I think his role is now to move on.
Yeah, for me personally, you know, he comes to Man United, I think, to coach the under-16s. First, was it in 2017, roughly, something like that, and you know, Ed Woodward was there, so he's going on to his third CEO here at Manchester United, if you include Omar Berrado, you know, if he's still here. So he must be able to offer something in the background, because Sir Jim Ratcliffe and INEOS, they won't suffer any fools then. If they see that someone's not capable in doing their job, they will not accept poor standards. So he must be able to bring something to the table. What? I'm not too sure, because I'm not in there seeing what's going on in training every day, but I'd love to see an actual article from someone who's close to Manchester United and close to Darren Fletcher of what he actually brings to the table, because as we know, he was the technical director. Jason Wilcox has come in, he's took over that role. So,
well, the question
is just going to be on the coaching pitch, well, not the training pitch more often.
Listen, the question is, what role is available for him, and should he fill that role? Is he qualified enough? So they're looking. The conversation I've seen is there a role for Darren Fletcher? Well, at the moment, clearly not. So that's why I do believe that he won't be here, because, in other words, are they going to find him a role? Well, that to me just doesn't sit well with me, finding somebody a role because they're there. If there's no role there, don't try and create a role. Unfortunately, that's what's gone on for many years at United. They've always looked after each other. Okay, mates rates and things like that. That's how it's always been discussed. Yeah. They always look after each other. Yeah. Each department looks after themselves, and then the mates look after each other inside there. They go and give like the sons or the cousins roles in the junior team and things like that, just to get them to keep everyone happy. And I don't like Darren Fletcher being talked about as, is there a role in there, what he can get in? Is there a role what can suit him? No, he's had too many roles. Enough's enough. Go, Darren, find somewhere else. You've got the experience. You know what you're doing, but don't just be a gap filler when someone's place comes available. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, I mean, one person who must be absolutely buzzing in that squad to see Van Nistelrooy coming is Højlund. Surely as a centre-forward, to learn off a man like him in what he'd done in his career, Van Nistelrooy. But also the wide players as well, because surely Nistelrooy will be able to tell him exactly where the ball should be getting delivered to in that penalty area, where he would have liked it himself.
See, when you say that, right, it doesn't take Nistelrooy to tell him that.
No, but surely that should add something to it, you know, with his experience, not just as a player, as a manager as well.
I know, but
I know what you're thinking. You're thinking, well, why aren't they listening to Erik Ten Hag? Because surely Erik Ten Hag is telling them that, and the coaches, every single day in training. But it's not been happening.
Yeah, but it's common sense. Everyone out there would say it's common sense. Get the ball, feed the striker.
Yeah, I mean, you could do that, I think.
Everyone out there could do exactly the same.
As well.
Every one of us could queue up and say, oh, you two, wingers, just cross the ball to him when you get it, instead of running with it.
Yarders.
Yeah. So at the end of the day, I don't think you need experience when you can just turn around and say, hey, cross the ball. I think what it is, it's the tactics. It's what Erik Ten Hag sets up, how he sets them up. So it's the system, and everyone's got to work to this. I think it's a hard understanding, and some of them players can't work to this system. So I think that's what he'll bring into the role, getting the people to play the system. I don't think it's just about telling a player, oh, by the way, cross the ball and feed the centre forward. I think it's getting players good enough and capable enough to do this system. And at this moment in time, we've seen all season, right, these players not capable of doing it. And I think Van Nistelrooy and Hake will sort out the players who aren't good enough for this system pretty quickly and change it.
There's no like real wrong or right answer here at the moment because we've got no facts, but we suffered a lot of injuries last season. So with the two coaches coming in, you'd expect training methods to change. And if we was to see more or less the full squad near enough fit for the majority of the season, would you look at that and then maybe praise the medical department, or think, well, on training it's changed. Maybe it was the old regime with the training methods.
Well, at the moment,
i.e. Van der Gaag. Do you know what I mean? I'm not pointing the finger at him, but there's something seriously wrong there last season why so many players were breaking down. So hopefully they've got the finger on the pulse there and they found out the problem.
At the moment, I'm not going to blame anybody. I'm not going to blame the medical side. They've got to look at that. Sir Jim Ratcliffe said they've got to look at it. Van der Gaag, I'm not going to blame him. No. I think it's what it is. It's a combination of everything. And I've got to accept that it's a combination of these are athletes and every day they're working, and there's game after game after game. So that has to be looked into. Yes, it will be looked into. There will be changes. There will be changes in the medical staff. You expect that. But everything will be looked at. And at this moment in time, I don't think there's anything clear on injuries, what affected this squad last year.
How much of a boost is it giving you, knowing that Erik Ten Hag, as Fabrizio Romano saying, we'll sign that contract in the next few days? Yourself, going forward, do you fully believe that we can improve next season on last season's league finish and performance? I
think we can improve as a team. I think the performances have to improve. I've got a boost in myself that Erik Ten Hag's this year. But like I say, I want him here this year and he has to succeed. Like I say, Sir Jim Ratcliffe will be calling it. You have to succeed. We have to see change. I want to see change. And I think it's right that he was given the 3 years. Rinse and repeat with managers. We've now made a change. There's no rinse and repeat. And he might get a 2-year. He might even get a 3-year deal here. Okay? Which then makes him the longest serving manager for a long time if he completes it. Okay? So I expect change. I expect things to improve. Why wouldn't they improve? Yeah. Ten Hag knows what's going on at this club. The players themselves know they have to improve, and the players themselves know that if they don't buck up, they're out. And there is players going out this summer, okay, who haven't towed the line.
Yeah, juiced. DTC says Hake did amazing work with Go Ahead Eagles and before that with Utrecht. So yeah, like we mentioned earlier on, any of you out there who know more information than us, which is quite likely to be honest with you, get it in the chat below because it's always an interesting reading what you actually put in the comment section. INEOS Fushia, welcome to our members club. And on that note, yeah, we have listened to you out there. A lot of you have been mentioning it about setting up a members area. So we done that yesterday. If you want to take a look at it, please by all means take a look. And it's just to help support the channel moving forward, keeping the lights on and trying to give you a better production in the future. And obviously we'll give you some more extra content if that's something you're looking for. So take a look at it if you're interested. Anything to add though before we go?
No, just rumours out there about Rashford again. What I would say about the Rashford rumours is totally ignore them. Rumours about Paris Saint-Germain have been going on for 3 years. So this is just someone putting Rashford out there just to get a story. If he goes, he goes. If he doesn't go, then he stays at Man United. It's as simple as that. You know my feelings on Rashford. So if he goes, I'm not going to shed a tear for him. It'd be the best for both of us. But at the end of the day, there's no sign of him going. So at the end of the day, the rumours are the rumours. And this is the time of the year for them rumours.
Yeah, just like to thank everyone for joining us today, getting involved in the chat. INEOS Fushia, cheers and welcome to Members Club. If you've enjoyed the video, smash a like on the video and we'll be back on Monday with another Manchester United chat. So you enjoy the weekend. Our focus and our eyes will probably be on England on Sunday.
Oh, I don't know.
You're not going to watch him? I think
to be honest, I've hardly watched full games. I don't think I've watched a full game. I've been really put off by it, to be honest with you. I think the standards has been poor right through it. Yes, there's been some teams like Austria. I've liked one or two of the sort of like lowly rated sides coming up against sides what are arrogant, you know what I mean? But as a whole, the tournament, it's not inspired me one little bit at the moment.
Okay. Watson the other day was dancing around when...
No, don't lie. Don't lie. No, I will watch the England game, but I've watched some of the England games and then just switched over and then switched back. Can't really keep my concentration on England at the moment. They're going to have to vastly improve. But hey,
like I say, you enjoy your weekend, whatever you're doing. Stay safe, and we'll see you again on Monday. Much appreciated, everyone. Enjoy your weekend. Thank you.
Thank you.